Hello everyone, it's Yash. Welcome to this video. I'll be talking about the top 4 books you need to be reading as a college student. Well, I graduated from college 6 months ago, so I'm pretty fresh into the whole college experience and everything. And I know for me, when I was traversing through college, I was trying to find these different productivity books or just these different development books to read to kind of help, get a better perspective on everything. And I know it can be a little challenging with classes and such to find time to read, but for me, these 4 books, when I read them in college, have definitely left a profound impact on me. So to get things started, we're going to start with number 4, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I know it's a very popular book. I'm pretty sure everyone knows who Dale Carnegie is. He's a fantastic author who's wrote some amazing books. But for me, the reason that I think this is a really important book is that no matter what profession you're planning on going into, whether you want to be the CEO of a business, or you want to be a graphic designer, or you want to be a freelancer, or anything you could possibly imagine, communication is key. Being in the workforce for about 5 months now, I've quickly realized how important being a proper communicator, or how good it is to be a good communicator, how much that is relied upon, and how much value you can get just by being a good communicator, and how you can sway people just by the way you talk. And this book does a really good job of just telling you how to properly communicate with people, whether that's people you're close friends with, people you are meeting as acquaintances. So for me, I think this is a really good book to pick up as a college student, because there's no better time to learn how to communicate with people than in college, when you're communicating with friends, professors, potential employers, trying to get internships. So this book did a really good job of that. I remember one specific example is they talked about the power of just remembering someone's name. And I just know for me, when someone can remember my name, whether it's an acquaintance or a friend, how much of a lasting impact that brings on me. So that's something I've always remembered from this book. So number 4, How to Win Friends and Influence People. So number 3 is I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. This book is great. I think it's such an easy book to read. I think Ramit does a really good job of taking personal finance and making it super easy to ingest in this book. He does a really good job of just giving you basically a 6-week program of just actionable steps you can take to kind of get your personal finances in order. And he doesn't clog up the book with a bunch of fancy finance terms that sometimes can be a little bit overwhelming. He instead just keeps it very simple, and he basically lays out, like I said in the action program, he just lays out very clear and concrete steps you need to take to basically achieve financial freedom. Just as simple as saving correctly, tracking your spending in a certain way, investing, getting yourself ready for investing and such. So I think this book is really great. And I really like the idea he preaches is that one of the things that he always talks about whenever you listen to interviews or anything about him is his idea of personal finance isn't about, cut out the $4 latte out of your daily life. He doesn't really value, that is important, but in his idea, and like in the book he preaches, is focus on the big wins when it comes to personal finance. And that way you can still enjoy all the small luxuries of life, whether that's getting your latte or getting your haircut or whatever. Because I think a lot of times we often hear in personal finance, we need to cut out the $4 expense every single day, and that will eventually give us $1 million, which is, in theory, it could work, but that's a very long process. And instead, he wants you to focus on your big wins that you can do to kind of get you to that financial freedom. So I Will Teach You to Be Rich, an excellent book. I would highly recommend it. I even find myself now just going through it and just rereading certain chapters about investing and stuff like that. So it's such a valuable book that I think a lot of people would gain value from. Number 3, this is going to be kind of a weird one. I'm actually going to recommend a Harry Potter book because I think it's good. It's not a productivity book. It's not one of those books that teaches you anything, but I think it's good to kind of mix in whatever you're reading. Just a book that is just fun to read, and just can kind of get your mind off the normal grind of the schoolwork and such. So I would recommend finding a book that such as Harry Potter, or whatever book that's just not directly related to productivity or anything, that can just kind of let your mind escape. Because I often find that when I read those books and when I come back after reading them, I actually get more creative, or I get this new spark of just, momentum and motivation to do more work. Number one is Give or Take. For me, this book, by far one of the best books I've ever read, because it really talks about, essentially in a quick synopsis of it, it talks about how being a giver in life, personal life, business life especially, how being a giver instead of a taker can really help elevate you and create this momentum of success that wouldn't be accomplished if you were just a taker. So for example, by giving, it means by selflessly giving your time, your resources in a sense, and also just providing advice, and not being this taker that necessarily focuses just on achieving my goal. If I was a taker, for example, I would just be so caught up in just trying to climb the ladder that I wouldn't care who I destroy or who I take advantage of. And instead, he wants, as a giver, if you instead focus your time on helping everyone around you, those same people can help elevate you to the same successes that maybe a taker could get. So for me, this came as a really good time. I read it around my junior year of college, and it was a really important time for me because not necessarily I was ever a taker, but it really showed me how important it is to really view yourself as a giver, because you never want to be the person, or you never want to seem like the person that's just taking advantage of people or taking advantage of a resource or a connection to get to where you want to go. Instead, you want to be that giver, learning from people, but also providing that value back to other people, and communicating that way. So for me, Give or Take, by far the best book I've read in college. I know it's pretty famous, but for me, it's just left such a lasting impact on me, and I can't recommend it any more than I have already. But yeah, that is basically the 4 books that you should read as a college student. Pretty short list, but for me, sometimes, you can read all these books, you can read a ton of books in college, and then you may not end up grasping all the knowledge from them. So for me, these 4 left a lasting impact on me, and I can't recommend them more than enough. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, please rate, comment, and subscribe. But yeah, see you guys next week. Peace.